shit. You look crazy. You look like a skinny fat guy.
Yes, it is the worst. So, I'm trying to stay
So
healthy,
why was
man.
syrup making you fat? Was the calories?
It's
in
the sugar.
syrup?
It's so much sugar in it. Then you drinking a lot of soda. I might drink a 2-liter of soda in a day by myself.
Just on the syrup.
Yeah. So that's just too much soda to be drinking, man, for anybody.
Coming off the syrup, how long did you feel it took for you to get your mind right?
It was like 2 weeks, maybe.
Only 2 weeks, yeah.
I mean, it's just your stomach is real fucked up. You know what I'm saying? That's what's so nasty about it. Like, everybody talk about sipping syrup and you know what I'm saying? But it's like, if you don't have no syrup for 3 days, you might shit on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't hold, it's like, you got like diarrhea. Like,
Your shit is so fucking
you can't even hold, you can't even hold nothing. But then, this is the other side to that story. If you drink too much, you become constipated. And you can't take a shit. So it's like...
So if you're on the syrup hard, you'd be fucking...
That's why
backed
Gucci
up.
Mane belly was like that. It wasn't the fact that he was fat, he was bloated. Yeah, it was bad. Mad turds up in there.
He was backed up. I fucking... Like, I don't... Yo, on that syrup, you shit once every 6 months, man.
This is true, though.
Fuck up.
This is true, so it's nasty. All the kids out there listening to this, they think drinking syrup is cool. Don't get me wrong, it does taste amazing. And it, it might help you sleep good at night, but the side effects and all that other shit to it, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
So...
No, man, let yourself in. It's just like whatever. Yeah, but you get to see when they leave. And then lock the door again. I don't trust you. Well, you should lean towards the left.
And rock with it.
Right. That terrible segue brings us into our
What
subject for this
Yo, what's going on? What's goody?
Yes.
It's me, Wally Wall Street.
And you are joined with Dave Williams.
And the illustrious.
The incomparable.
The kings of all kings.
That's a bit much. Man.
I mean,
Making me blush for him.
nah, I'm just trying to.
You know.
Look, I'm sorry.
That was a lot of fanfare.
I'm looking at this Wawa commercial,
Okay.
Thanksgiving vibe, and I felt a little excited, so my bad.
Yeah, and you felt like calling him the King of Kings.
The kings
huh?
of kings.
The king of games.
True.
That's
Mike
you.
Hennix from Hennix Enterprises here with us.
Appreciate that, man. I'm feeling superstar status.
Yeah, man. You're the king of games, man.
Hey man, you've been here kicking it with us, and we're getting a lot of good feedback from our previous episodes. So we thank you for dropping some more science on this important topic that I know for a fact that
We're being fair. We spent a lot of time talking about Appalachia folk and West Virginia shit with the last opioid. I think it's fair to address. Mike brought up a point last week about how it's not just a racial cultural issue. It's manifesting in different ways in different cultures. Yep. And in the hip hop culture, it's manifesting in this lean, this dirty Sprite, this Sizzurp. Angel Dust. No. I was trying to think of the Training Day scene and shit where you Primos.
Shout out to Denzel.
Yeah, right.
What was his name?
You never been wet?
Did
You ever get your shit pushed in, man? But, bro, big time, bro. Anyway,
how crazy was it?
Yeah.
That that girl saved his life towards the.
Yeah, man, that was a good movie.
You know.
Yeah, man. All right, but I'm from Rocket. Was it Hyde Park? I saved him today. I saved your life.
Cooler.
Yo, if there's ever a time to shit in your pants, like that is for real. He got you in the bathtub and
Double barrel
everything.
shotgun to the face.
Yeah, man.
So what's he MS-13?
Something, man. He was a king, or he was something bad, bro. He was bad news, but
For real, man. I never go to LA.
It was something like in the movie, call him something like Eastside Crazies or something like that.
yeah.
Like, we don't need no statement. Go.
They're gonna fuck you up, puto.
Yeah, right.
Go in your car. Go hard. Go home.
Right.
And don't skip school.
That's funny.
Shit, man. But anyway. All right, so 3 minutes in, we're already totally derailed. It's beautiful. We're already talking about early 2000 movies and shit. But yeah.
We don't want to talk about drugs related to our community. We like to fuck around with the Appalachian niggas.
That is true. We are kind of avoiding the purple elephant in the room.
Oh, nice. That was a good one.
I try. I'm trying here and there. All right, so so to kind of start off, it's like you guys heard that clip Danny Brown talking about his relation to Aline and how like it got in the way of his life. And I think what can happen is even someone like that who's talented and has this drive, it was what he said, it was tying him out, it was constipating him, it was basically sucking the life out of him.
10 hours sleep.
Yeah,
Nice.
man. Yeah, constipation, all this type of stuff, and we're essentially drinking like heroin and soda. Like I was looking up online, they said that death toll is super high up through the roof because there's all this sugar, there's all this sweet shit. You could get really fucked up on this shit and not even realize how much you're taking into your system. Right. And it coats your system, you know? Like, also we were talking about how all these people, all these famous hip-hop, influential, important artists who to do this lean shit, lo and behold, they all end up with health issues down the road, right? So is that just a coincidence? Are we just supposed to pretend that there's not a correlation? I mean, you know...
Do they have health care?
Yeah, I think Wayne's good. I think Wayne's good on stuff. But, I mean, like, just going through, like, real quick, Pimp C and DJ Screw and OG Mako talking about addiction issues with it and how it's holding them back. I mean, like, what do you think was going on here? Like, why do you think something so destructive can be so prevalent?
I think it's probably, again, deals with the culture.
Yeah.
Of where you from and where you at. This is what we do. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you do things even though it's not necessarily healthy for you, but you do it because it reminds you, or this is the hard times, and this is what we used to do back in the day to keep the culture of whatever you're trying to support. Yeah. Like, you look at how most people still eat pig guts. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like, is it really good for you? You don't have to do it no more, but, you know, you just want to... I guess it kinds of humbles you in a sense. I mean, chitlins
and codeine, but I do see your analogy.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like in thinking about it and like following that logic, putting it into context, I don't think this is the first time it's happened. Like, in thinking back to jazz culture, there was a huge time period, there was a huge issue where John Coltrane had a heavy heroin issue, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis. I think Dizzy Gillespie had a heroin issue too. So we had the people who are on the forefront of black music, bebop at the time, people on the forefront of cool, people on the forefront of creativity and artistry. There was a heroin problem in like the 40s, and the issue was that because all the cool artists were doing heroin, the assumption was the only way to be really cool, the only way to really play like Charlie Parker or Miles Davis is to get fucked up on drugs. Right. When the fucked up reality is they were geniuses who were playing on that level despite being that fucked up. There are stories with Miles Davis where he would be so fucked up on the stage during a performance to where the person next to... No, I'm sorry. It was Charlie Parker. I'm sorry. So, jazz, bebop, innovator, one of the most important people in black music. Or just music, right? But there was this story how the person next to him was instructed, here's a pen. You're the one sitting next to Charlie tonight, or Bird tonight. And so dude was like, why? Why hand me a pen? This is random. And so basically the idea is we're all going to take solos at a certain point in a song. When it's Charlie Parker's turn to take his solo, he's going to be so knotted out on heroin that you have to really discreetly stab him in the leg really hard with a pen to wake him up. That's how knotted out Charlie Parker would be. That you had to... And that's why he went to rehab, and then he released Charlie Parker with Strings after that, and critics call it one of his best albums of his career when he got off of the heroin. But yeah, he was so fucked up that you have to stab him in the leg, wake him up, and then he'd play the most beautiful music you ever heard in your life, and then he would sit back down in his chair and be knotted out. That's the level of genius we're talking about here. But at the same time, there was a miscommunication that because he was that brilliant, that, oh, it's the heroin, and the heroin opens up your creativity and loosens you up, man. But no, it was just, you know. And so there has been a correlation in the past with us allowing crazy shit to slide just to kind of, you know, be cool. So as much as I'd like to get mad at Future and blame Wayne and blame, you know, sipping on some Sizzurp, this shit has been going on I mean, heroin and this lean shit is the same shit. It's been going on for decades.
I would also add that, like, maybe, just maybe, some artists really need these lean on drugs. Lean on drugs. You got that?
I did.
Thank you.
I did. I'm very proud of you.
Because they might be hiding deeper issues.
I mean, absolutely, self-medication is an important thing. Rob Kardashian is reported to use lean as other things as well, apparently, reportedly, but or allegedly. But it does kind of make sense where, especially when you think of the type of effects you have on lean. It's described as this kind of like sleepy, euphoric kind of feeling, and so it's too easy to self-medicate in this type of feeling, with this type of drug.
And to piggyback off that, it may not even be self-medication. It just may be more so sociable. A lot of things that people end up getting hooked onto it. My mother always says the people that introduce you to things are the people that are able to give it up, and the people that they introduce always end up the ones hooked on something. And it's funny because, a lot of times you see that, like, people introduce you to like, oh yeah, I don't do that on Tuesdays. Meanwhile, you start doing lean, and then before you know it, you're drinking, a pint yourself. You're drinking this every day. So a lot of that doesn't even come from one.
An $1,100 pint. You were telling me how expensive.
Some of them, some people are spending up to $1,000, $1,100 a pint because on like crazy. The regular stuff. A couple years ago it was $600. It's not a poor person's drug. It's
how much weed you could buy with $1,100? It's
very expensive to do. So that's why you see a lot of these rappers. And so that's why, if you look at it, it's a sociable thing because it's like the new Coke. It's very expensive to do. Regular people can't do it, and then you have a lot of people trying to do syrup, but they're not really doing the lean. They're doing, other types of lean. It's still opiates, but it's not the real deal.
Do you think that's a factor? Like how, Bill Gates, Donald Trump let me in, right? So it's like, is there a thing where it's like, because lean is expensive, it's associated with like money and success? Sure. And you think that's part of the reason? Absolutely.
That's why people were sniffing coke in the 70s, because it was a rich person's drug. Like, even though rich people particularly aren't doing, like, Justin Bieber drinks lean as well. But he hangs out with rappers. But, like, it's not something that, Upper East Side affluent people are doing. They're not having syrup parties. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Right.
But, because rich people have things to do, so they're not going to be sitting around drinking lean, because it kind of makes you,
slows you down.
Yeah. It's not a drug that people, like, if they're busy, want to do in life. Like, something like Coke. Yeah.
Lean does not sound like an action adjective.
That's
like,
the point of it.
Yeah, for sure.
The point of it, it's very similar to, like, I guess what you could say, like what Michael Jackson was going through, how Danny Brown said that he was going through sleep withdrawals, and a lot of people, they're doing that because they need to just chill out.
And that ties to mental health issues as well. A lack of sleep, there's a direct correlation with not getting enough sleep and mental health issues. Yeah. Your brain really does need that time to recharge the batteries, man. So it's scary that stuff like this can be so prevalent. I mean, like we had Wiz Khalifa come out today, and was it today? It was recently.
Saturday.
So it was yesterday.
Right. So yesterday he came out with his lean is lame thing. Do we think that there was a big controversy? There was a bit of a firestorm over that. Do we think that Wiz Khalifa has enough clout to affect this in a positive way? Do you think people are gonna really?
No, absolutely not. Not because it's never about the message; it's about the messenger. You can't talk about other people's addictions and you have weed in your mouth. Like he's smoking a blunt doing. And I don't disagree with what he's saying. He's 100% right. However, it's like me doing coke, like, oh yeah, that weed shit is lame. Like, yo, you just did a bump. Like, what are you doing? So like a person that I would listen to, and I had it. Remember the shirt I showed you last week from my boy? You gonna get this work?
Yeah.
He had the shirt. Stand up niggas don't lean. And that's what they're talking about.
But here's the thing, though. But you said it right there. You said you would listen to a person like that. I'm asking for a younger person, right?
Well,
because here's the thing, though. Because if Wiz Khalifa comes out in a suit and tie and says, "Hey, everybody, here's 15 reasons why lean is bad for you," a young person might be like, "Man, you're a square."
No, but my message meaning that I'm talking about me as a 15-year-old, because most teenagers, they look at hypocrisy and they ignore you. That's hypocrisy right there is what I'm saying. If I'm a teenager and I see a guy, I'm talking about as a teenager, I'm talking down about you. My first question is, well, what about your weed? I consider it about your weed. People said it about you smoking weed.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
like, why are you it? And then also, as a person that's heavily invested in marijuana culture, he has KK Kush, Khalifa Kush.
Not Kim Kardashian.
No,
Kush?
not Kim. Nah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
like,
right.
and I'm not accusing him of this, but I'm saying playing devil's advocate. Some people might look at that as like, well, why are you downing this because you're trying to, push what you're selling? Like
It doesn't hurt him.
It doesn't
all.
hurt him.
Yeah.
And it does hurt him. If more people are doing lean instead of smoking weed, it does hurt him because he's in the weed business.
Yeah, I'm saying like him advertising his weed while putting down another drug.
Right.
It's I mean, you can't deny like how
It's kind of like Chick-fil-A has the commercials with the cow saying "eat more chicken," right?
Yeah.
Like
that's
so,
the
it's
joke,
like we want you to eat fast food. We just don't want you eating
Their fast
anybody
food.
else fast food.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk shit and down the competition. Come get these nuggets. Leave them McDonald's and leave that Burger King alone. So that's what he's basically doing with this. He's like, yo, that Burger King is bad for you. That's that red meat. It's good for you.
Yeah.
Let me come over here to this side.
Right.
But at the same time, Wayne is having seizures, man. And I
Right.
don't know any weed heads who've had any seizures like ever.
I think Wayne would be the only person to really make impact on the whole the lean is lame campaign.
Boosie as well.
Boosie too.
I was
That's why-
just
that's
gonna
why a
say
lot of
that
people-
about him and the kidney issues.
He had the kidney cancer, and then you have a lot of people like last year he was on there talking about he had it broke down to a science about how much water you have to drink to get it off your kidneys and this and that and the third. You have a lot of people out there. So if you're going to talk, if I'm going to listen to someone about the dangers of something, it would have to be a person who used to do it or is
Right.
actively doing it, just having a hard time getting off of it. Not a person that's looking on the culture from the outside looking in. And I mean, who's to say I don't do it either? But at the same time, it's like, I look at that and I'm like, I don't understand how people can get into that. And I hear these stories about from Danny Brown talking about how bloated he was and how he couldn't control his bowel movements, and Gucci Mane, how crazy he was going through withdrawals. And you're dealing with heroin withdrawals. Like, let's not sugarcoat this shit. Like, you go through withdrawal. That's the hardest drug to kick. If they try to make crack a hard drug to kick, you can self-detox. You can't self-detox off of heroin. Like, you're sick. Like, your body becomes, like, addicted to it, and it's a necessity. So you got to really look at what other drugs out there are doing that to you. Not too many.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's like I mentioned before. The risk of coma and death is really prevalent with this stuff because it's so easy. Like with I believe it was either Pimp C or DJ Screw. They were saying how they found the codeine in the system and they found benzos, and it was that combination of all these different chemicals and pills and everything else that did them in.
And that's crazy because Texas lost 3 people to that. They lost Big Mo, they lost Pimp C, and they lost DJ Screw to that, right?
Yeah.
And usually, I'm not going to sit here and be like 3 isn't enough. 3 is a lot, especially when they're like part of the culture as prevalent as they were. Imagine in the 1990s when, the East Coast rap was hot. If we lost 3 from that region, we lost Biggie and Pac, and that shit was hard. And that was 2, right? But there was different eras. Like, there was like different
regions.
Different
too.
regions.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about like from the same region. Like, if you lost like 3 right there, like that was like important to that region.
Yeah, that's like half a D12, B.
and if you think about it, like 3 is a lot for Texas because there's not a lot of rappers from Texas. There's a ton of rappers from New York, ton of rappers from California. But when you think about Texas, what you got? Scarface, UGK, Chameleonaire, Slim Thug, and then what do you call it, guys? I won't say the name. Ghetto Boys.
Ghetto Boys. Yeah.
And that's like who we Paul Wall, and that's basically. Oh, and of course our guy Lil Flip and Mike Jones, right? So those are. So how many people did I name about? I named about 10 people. That's right there, right? So you add those 3, but I said UGK. Pimp C's part of UGK.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Lil Flip, Screwed Up Click, and then that's his group. That's his DJ, DJ Screw. And then you lose and Big Mo. I forgot what crew Big Mo was with. But the point of the matter is, it's like that's 3 out of 13 big rappers. That's a big percentage.
Yeah, man.
It's really on. I mean, it's preventable. But
Yeah.
I think for the most part, certain people would imagine that it is what it is. If the culture, if the town or the community views the drink as something that's necessary. I don't think even after their passing, I don't think that makes a difference.
You know what the thing is? I don't really think they feel it's necessary. It's just the fact that it's so pervasive and so addictive.
Yeah, it's probably hard to break.
It's
I was
very
gonna
hard
say,
to break.
yeah. OG Mako was just talking about that before, about how hard for him it was to, to break out of it. And it's tough. It's tough because it's hard for there to be something so glorified to look so cool and everything like that, and for it to also be so addictive is like almost kind of like fucked up, like it's mean.
Well, I know in an interview with Beans, he mentioned that the shit's been around since the 60s, and that the syrup that they have isn't compared to what they were using in the 60s to now is completely different. So perhaps it's getting worse because of the different syrup. It's not even real syrup that they're using, so that's having a strong effect. Because if you're using it since the 60s, and people weren't really diluting like they are today, then you know what I'm saying?
Well, like there was lead in the paint in the 60s. Like what the fuck was the medicine?
But that's the thing, what he's talking about. It's not so much when he's saying it's not real syrup. Like that's kind of like, people glorifying the old age, or they ain't the real stuff they drinking. But he's right, because like I was saying, the stuff, because the stuff from the late 90s, like that they really was doing, the promethazine and stuff like that, isn't as widely as available as that, because they understood like the seriousness of this stuff. Like they weren't talking about activists and sipping on some Sizzurp. They talking about promethazine. That's what comes from. That's where that lean promethazine. That's all from that, and that's why you hear them talk about purple. But then you hear Lil Wayne talking about, I like my Sprite Easter pink. Every syrup has different colors. Like everything is not going to be the same color. So you're going to have certain things that are purple, like Barney purple, and you're going to have Easter pink. Some stuff is green. Like it just depends upon who's mixing it and what they're mixing it with. They have big parties and stuff, and then they doing Jolly Ranchers and all of that. And you got a bunch of people. And even if they're not drinking it, they're insinuating that they are drinking it, so they get free publicity in these rap videos with double cups and this and that. And guess what? YouTube is not going to tell them you can't put double cups in your video, because why?
Money being made.
First of all, there's money being made around there about that, right? Money being made around here. Remember that shit? Second of all, they could put the 18 plus YouTube on it, right? And no one cares about MTV anymore. Oh, we're not gonna play your records on MTV. Okay, I'm gonna get 1 billion views. You think that Despacito is doing 4 billion views on YouTube without being played 50 million times on MTV? So they can say screw MTV. They can say screw BET. Don't play. I don't have BET jams on my
network.
My network in my house. Yeah. I watch all my videos on YouTube and the internet, right?
It's true.
World Star and everybody else. I know we're just giving them a bunch of shout outs for free right now. But,
we'll be sending you an invoice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
We don't care about television anymore. It's more pervasive now because you got people watching everything, and then even if you tell your kid you can't watch this channel, they don't have to find a way. The kid next to them has a smartphone. They're gonna watch it on the bus.
Yeah. Google it.
Like back in the old days, it was kind of hard to watch different things because the internet wasn't as prevalent. So if your parents didn't let you watch TV, you may sneak over a friend's house and watch TV and sneak over and this and that, but you couldn't watch it on the school bus. Now, as soon as you drop your kid out the door, they're at the bus stop watching somebody drinking syrup.
Yeah.
Hearing about it on the radio.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's tough, man. Like, and it's interesting because it's like what I feel like this really has the potential of blowing up out of hand, because even
nice pun.
Right. So like Beanie Siegel talking about being as young as 8 years old and doing this shit. And this is before most of us even really knew what lean was. Like, I was aware of lean, like when sipping on the Sizzurp, right, that whole thing. But I was young. I didn't really 100% understand like what was in it. I just knew that people were getting fucked up on drinking the sweet shit in the red cup or whatever. Right. And so for him, for the culture to be so bad that we're letting 8-year-olds get fucked up on heroin, basically. Like, what about now? Like, when it's a common, prevalent drug,
that
this happening all the time.
Though. Like, I don't like that had nothing to do with our culture with him. Like, he was just a boy saying it was like saying that basically like Texas wasn't the first people to do it per se, but he really wasn't putting that into the hip hop realm. Because remember, he was saying that.
I'm not talking about hip hop. I'm just talking about like how did this happen? How do we let 8-year-olds get into this situation?
Politics. It all
Politics,
falls down to politics.
Yep.
It all falls down to the community, what they can. Like,
And the same politics is there, is what I'm saying. So whatever it is that led to him doing that at that age is still going on now, and we're still not addressing it.
I mean, I heard about this syrup back in 1999, 1998 when I was in middle school. I had a friend from Texas. He's from Houston. And he was telling me about it, and I didn't believe him. I'm like, what you mean? He was telling me, yo, people come to school down there, and this is 20 years ago almost. People used to come to school down there with baby bottles, and he's like, yeah, they drink this syrup. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, they talk about getting crunk. And I'm like, and I'm like, and then my friends and I, we were clowning him. Because we were like, shout out to my man. His name was Dave Chandler. Shout out to him if you out here listening. And he was just telling me about it. He was from Houston. And then, we were living out in Woodbridge. And we were like, yo, people don't drink syrup. That's stupid. We didn't understand it. And then the next summer, that's when I finally saw the Sipping on Some Sizzurp. That was 99. And I was like, wow. And the song was dope.
Yeah, the song was
and then
it was everywhere.
If you think about it, it goes from underground to even Drake talks about drinking syrup. Double Cup Love, You Don't Want to Lean On. Me and Wayne leaning like Kareem doing the hook shots. He's always talking about, like, he's always been talking about it. And then even he linked up with Future. Like, he's been associated with that. We associate Drake so much with Toronto that we forget he's from Texas. Like, not from there, but he's a product of Texas.
He claims Texas.
More than he's Atlanta, Vegas.
Like, he's Josh Prince's product. Like, from Jay Prince's son.
Oh.
You can't get more Texas than that's Mr. Texas. You know what I mean? So
what label he founded again? Rap A Lot?
Rap A Lot Records. And he's like the guy. He's the first person from Texas to actually like build hip hop down there. So like, so they're heavily involved in the Texas culture, and that's ingrained. I don't know why so much Texas is like associated, Houston, whatever, but if you think about it, Houston's what, the 3rd, 4th largest city in America?
Yeah, looking it up, they say it's Houston. They say it comes from Houston, but
so who were the locals that brought it over? That got the
Yeah, I'm curious, like how that culture like developed, man.
I think it's just probably something that happened by accident. Somebody was like, let's put some Sprite, but just
And even what's his name? They weren't talking about doing lean, but if you remember, Diplomats had Sizzurp. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was purple. Shut down, right? Yeah, I don't know why they got shut down or nothing like that. Did you ever drink that?
No, never.
Yo, it was good.
Who started it? Was it like
it was Jim Jones and Cam shit? Yeah. And they had the Sizzurp. They had the Sizzurp bottles. Like, they used to sell it some spots. I tried it like once or twice. It's pretty good. I can't lie.
They had that in that. They had that drink Flacco or For Loco.
Oh, yeah. Four Loco came a little later. Yeah. But I definitely remember that that Sizzurp joint. But in general, man, like, it's just that Texas, people were kind of ignoring it, but then I think it really blew up around the mid 2000s when you had Slim Thug came out. That was what Swisher House. Yes. Swisher House came out with that craziness, and then they had to chopped and screwed tapes and this and that and the third. And I was just to wonder, I'm like, if that shit looks like that when you take it, I don't want no parts of it. Right. But again, that's just me talking about it. But guess what? I wasn't in that market for it. But I can imagine some other impressionable 14, 15-year-old kids seeing that and saying, I wanted my life to be that way. So, it's not so much about, again, this is about what's socially acceptable and, why people want to do it. And it's just that people just don't see the risk of it, I guess. I don't,
Until it affects them personally, that's when they start, And I think because when you're young, you feel immortal. So you're just going to pop until when you start hitting 30, your metabolism slows down.
Yeah, man, the dad hips, man.
Then you start getting the dad hips, and then you're not even, you're just trying to fight that. It's just...
Well, to be the resident a liberal, sorry to cut you off, I feel like what it is that it's... All these are kind of related to political issues. I feel like part of the problem is that...
The feminist movement.
A lot of people don't have something to look forward to, right? So, like, I feel like... When you're in a situation where you don't feel like there's hope for the future, you don't feel like if you work hard, you can get to where you need to be. Right. Why not? Why not get like a little fucked up, smoke some this, have a couple pills.
Self-medication.
Yeah, man. And so I think it's like, I feel like sometimes for a lot of people, it's I mean, like we all do it to one extent and to another. Like we all impulse buy. We all, you know,
Wendy's.
yeah. Like if it's food, if it's sex, if it's.
But see, like when I think of lean, I don't think of self-medication. I think of a party drug.
But that's the same thing, though.
Well, kind of, sort of, because, like, you know, like, people who do heroin, there's, like, no heroin parties. You know, people do coke at parties to turn up at a party. Like, people...
That's what I'm saying,
You know what I mean? But
I think that's a form of self-medication.
But what I'm saying by that is, I don't think that's, like, people that, like, don't look forward to it. It's a celebratory thing. Because it's, like, a thing to do because it's the weekend. Let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? It's not, like, something like people smoke crack because... They're like, yo, I give up. Like, if you're smoking crack in 2017, it's like, you already know where this goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one is having crack parties. Like you already know where this is going. You know?
I think it's self-medication only because personal experience, I absolutely do that. Where it's like, I have some type of, like, social gathering or something that I'm nervous about. I'm really anxious. I'll be panicking my balls off on the inside, but I know I can't let it show.
Right. Unless you're at a swingers party, but continue.
I might have a couple of hits. I might have a couple of shots in before I go to the party.
Pre-game.
And so you might be like when you're 21, oh no, I'm just drinking I'm just having fun. But at 26, I think you should be able to look at yourself and go, you're having this shot because you're nervous. But I feel like that's a form of self-medication. Like, even if you have it under the guise of just bros being bros and we're getting fucked up and we're about to blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, you did it because you don't want to feel a certain type of way. Agreed. And so you wanted it to alter your mood a little bit.
All right, I'll give you that.
Right? So I feel like, you know, that's part of what's happening. And that's cool, but I feel like not this, bro. Like,
I understand what you're saying. I thought you were coming from the perspective of someone's depressed.
Right. I'm going to solve my depression with lean.
Yeah. I'm coming from the fact, like, yo, it's Friday night, and I got nothing else to do. But, all right, I get it.
But that's kind of a form of... But like Siegel was talking about that shit. Yeah. How he was laying out and he felt like a corpse and fuck, like, like, you got the lines. But, so, Wayne, too, I was just looking up how they were talking about how
how lean killed hip hop.
Yeah, on HuffPost wrote a nice article last year by, let's get some credit here, Evelyn Atiano.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Atieno, I probably said that shit
brave.
Wrong. Yeah, but like basically
shit about Lil Wayne.
on I Feel Like Dying, he's talking about the same kind of stuff, and in the same breath, he's talking about lean and he's talking about suicidal feelings, like a line or two apart. So I don't think you can deny that there is self-medication going on here, because if you have a drug that you feel like shit and you drink it and then you immediately feel euphoria, that's like antidepressant in a cup. But the problem is if you do it too many times, you can't function without that constant pick me up.
Yeah.
And then you get used to having the pick me up, and then now you can't not have the pick me up.
Well, to be fair, if you drink a lot of water, it could also do damage as well. Everything's got to be done in moderation.
For sure. But have like a NyQuil cup, like when you're having a hard time sleeping. Like,
but listen,
that's how that works.
To get access to, because I'm looking at this picture of Lil Wayne, and I noticed it says CVS pharmacy. So you have to have a doctor's prescription.
Yeah.
To order. Okay. So if the doctor seems like you have like
hey look,
an addict.
I buy medical weed all the time. I don't have a medical card. So right. I was gonna point that out, but go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying. Yeah. True, but how much money ultimately what I want to know is like how much money are these pharmaceuticals making?
Well, they're still doing it, so they're definitely making money off of it.
Because it seems like, again, I hate to be that guy with the whole, capitalism is bad, but here's the thing where you have a confusion where you're seeing that business is not, centered on like the public's health, and they know they have a product that's clearly harming, right? Where are the what are these lawmakers doing to try?
Like a moral responsibility.
Well, they have. That's why the same stuff was not available every year. That's what I said when it first started. Okay. It was purple. Now it's this and that. People still use the term purple, but that shit is not available like that anymore. That's why it's so expensive to get it secondhand. Like it's not accessible. If it was accessible, it would be $600, right? Or $1,100. Like it gets more expensive every year because it's harder and harder to get every year. Like some of the companies that have it aren't even in existence anymore, and people like Wolf of Wall Street. Remember the dude? He had the Quaaludes. Those Quaaludes weren't from that year. He had those Quaaludes from years of Lemonheads, from years ahead. And they thought this shit was weak. And then he was like, Some people
FBI!
Right. Some people
Steve Madden.
So some people out
Hang
there.
up the phone.
That's Stacey Adams.
So you're out there. So you might have people out there that have a stockpile of shit from years ago that's not on the market anymore because they take this shit off the market. They put new things on the market. Activists might not have. Let's say activists made the 850 milligrams. Now they might cut it down from 850 to 450 or 500. So now you got people trying to search for the old ones, stuff like that. So you got people like basically that shit is no different than sneakers, bro. Like you got people who want the 06 Jordans instead of the 2012 Jordans because you're like, oh, it's old. Yeah, but I want the quality ones. So a lot of people out there are doing old. You know, like the thing. So like I said, that's what they're doing. They're doing their due diligence. It's just that you can't keep up with the black market. Yeah. The supply and demand. It's banned. Okay, so now it's not really available. Now my prices just went from $600 to $850 to $1,000. So every year, like right now, the thing everyone's talking about is activists. You don't hear anyone talking about promethazine. Activists don't want it right now. Until they get on that and they get rid of activists, and someone else is gonna come up because at the end of the day, we still need cough suppressants. Right. And then we'll just abuse the next one. Right. Never ending cycle. So nothing you can do. I can steal a pad.
Right. Unless you try natural remedies. Unless you start changing the way that we medicate ourselves or take care of our illness, I think that's probably the only alternative.
That's big pharma.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a much bigger.
That's a much bigger issue.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it seems so. Till then, folks, we don't have the answers. Maybe you do. Maybe you do, Sway. But right now, we don't have the answer.
Someone get this nigga Sway on the phone.
Yeah. That shit
How do I make sense of this? Ja.
I don't understand. I need Ja Rule or Sway to answer these questions. But so we have Wiz Khalifa. At least applause to him for really letting
for trying to positively. Why don't we think more people are stepping up and speaking out against it? Or more bigger acts, because there are a lot of big acts who made who got a lot of attention off of this positive.
2 words: brand equity.
Yep.
If that's part of your brand, people are just going to be like, this is how they see yourself. Even though it could change if you start getting some sponsors that are willing to pay for some of the stuff that your audience don't have to. If you don't solely depend on them. Maybe for Budweiser was sponsoring your shit, and you went to Philly every year to do a performance called Made in America. Then you might say, lean is bad. Drink some Bud.
Right.
So you go where the dollar is. I tell that to up. Yeah.
Do you think is any indication why is Sprite so involved in the hip hop community and they put so much money into it? They know what it's being used for.
Yeah.
They know people aren't drinking straight up Sprite.
That's a good idea.
And then that's a good point. And then they sell the Sprite that's the multicolored colors too, like the remix. And
that's a good point.
Maxine?
Oh, Drake was the spokesperson for Sprite.
Exactly.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You got Drake?
Yeah.
So
I remember that. Yeah.
So being that you're a huge Drake fan, how does that make you feel with respect to knowing that Drake is a supporter of a company that offer lean?
I'm not surprised. He hangs out in that community. Chris Brown, the whole thing goes together. It's a lifestyle.
There you go. That's true. So I think
Drake is definitely not going to be that artist to break the mold and try to.
Well, he's the guy. He is going to break the mold because he's the guy that he's clean cut, he's poppy, and he's widely accepted. So that's why they use him to push a lot of the things that are going on. So when you're like a record,
he's clean cut now, but like remember how hard he worked for years to prove that he wasn't. Like I'm not just like the perception of him is he's just that weird soft R&B singing.
Yeah.
Right. But like remember how there was that 2 or 3 year phase where he was trying to prove that I can be more than that and this and that. There was a phase where what's the song? You don't want to have a problem like that. Like there was a period in time where Drake was trying to prove to people.
Please don't do it.
Right. So
he's
like
about
Drake Right. So like Drake had a period where he was trying to prove that he wasn't soft, and I felt like he gave up. Like fuck, fuck it. That's just who I am.
But that album was super soft. Still.
Right, but like image-wise, that's not what he was trying to.
Oh, he always had that tough guy feel.
Trying. He's
trying, but that's not from.
He's been trying to play both sides of the field.
But that's marketing, because not so much tough guy. That's him being hyper. That's another conversation about hyper masculinity and being able to take your girl and do other things. That has nothing to do so much with like his marketing. Like I just think that rappers, are stuck in a box, and that's why no one talks about that box. Yeah, right. Because what they do is this. They tell you, okay, listen, throw your chain on, throw your grill on, rap about weed, rap about and lean, and that's about it. And they don't really want you to expand upon anything. Like, and if you decide to take a stand against that, which Wiz Khalifa is doing, he's hurting someone's brand. And in hip hop, that's a number one cardinal sin, because if you start talking about something, yo, son, that's my bread, they take that personally. Right. You understand? Like in pop music, if someone starts to talk about something that Taylor Swift does, Taylor Swift is not gonna make a diss track about you or try to end you.
Well, she might. She's petty like that.
She's petty like that. But what she'll do is she would never vaguely call you out. She would just move on to the next trend, because it's pop music. Pop evolves at all times. Like pop music sounds nothing like it did 5 years ago. Rap sounds exactly like it did 5 years ago, because Migos has been on top since 2010, and everyone's still rapping like Migos.
That's fair.
So that's why no one's coming out, because not to say that Migos does lean, because I never heard him talking about it. But the point I'm making is that
the sound,
we as consumers and sellers, we don't like variety. People like tried and tested formulas. When you try to go against the grain, no one's going to put their money up, because it's a gamble. They want things that people like. They know lean is selling. They know Dirty Sprite. Dirty Sprite sold before. You know what we need? Dirty Sprite 2. Mm-hmm. We know what we need? Dirty Sprite 3. Which then you end up with all these other ones. I don't know if the Dirty Sprite 3 is coming out, but the point that I'm making is that we want sequels. We don't want new stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why that hasn't gone, because we've seen Texas rap after Texas rap, double cup. We're looking for the same thing over and over again, and it's gonna take people coming out with crack is whack, because remember, people used to smoke crack, socially. They used to put crack in the weed. They didn't know any better. Yeah. Just do it. Yeah. And then people start to come out with crack is whack, and like, oh shit, I'm really doing this. So maybe it's gonna take a whole effort of them saying, real niggas stand up, don't lean. Lean is whack, whatever it is, a campaign, a money behind it. But who's gonna say it? I don't know.
You know what's crazy though? I was thinking, man, but like it's gonna take a lot more support from the hip hop community to get that ball rolling. Yeah. And I thought to myself, so we can get snitches get stitches to be a meme. We can get that rolling. No problem.
Shout out to Carmelo Anthony, the god.
Yeah, right. Shout out to who is it? Cameron, right? When the dude was like, if someone killed a man in front of you, would you say some shit?
That's the police.
I mean, I'll probably move.
Instead of a murderer move next door to him, he'd probably move.
He said, yeah, I mean, I'm an asshole, so yeah, I'll probably move. I'll let him kill again. I mean, that's not my problem. Like, okay, like shit.
Dipset.
Yeah, nice community, but like, way to look out for your brother, but yeah, it's
I don't want to go off track here, but since we're talking about Drake, I have a huge question. How is it that this guy has hits after hit after hit, right? But no classic album.
That's a good point.
I wouldn't agree with that at all. He has classic albums.
Views is a classic album?
I didn't say Views. You asked me, does he have classic albums?
Okay.
I said he has classic albums. The first album he came out with was dope.
Not a classic.
No, it was classic. First of all,
really?
Yeah, I can't Take Care.
Yeah,
that shit was dope. It was classic. Absolutely. That has replay value today. And then the second album after that,
I don't
See You Later.
No, I'm sorry. Take Care was the second album. Thank Me Later was the first one.
Okay.
Both of those were classics, and then I think he's been chasing that. And then the mixtape he dropped.
I think his mixtapes are more of a trap.
I can't.
I don't mind if you're reading this.
If you're reading this was like
That was the one record I didn't mind. That was the one Drake record.
Damn, why can't I remember the damn
Was it the album? It was like black, and then it was him on top of like this pseudo Christmas tree,
like the clouds or whatever.
Nah, the one with You the Best and Every Girl when he was in that.
His first album.
The first album. It was OVO Presents, and then it was because before that came out Replacement Girl with Trey Songz, and then he came out with that. I can't remember the name of it.
That's why it's not a classic.
No, it is a classic.
Comeback season.
No, that's not. Is it comeback season?
Yeah, that was the mixtape. The first album.
His first record was comeback season.
Yeah. And that's the one with You the Best and everything, 2008.
Yeah, best I ever had.
Was it under Young Money? No.
Degrassi. That's funny.
So yeah, it was that.
Yeah.
So that was dope, and then he did his thing up. But for me to say that he doesn't have,
are you thinking of So
Far
Gone?
He's got bangers. He's got a good album. I don't think they're like.
That's the thing, yeah. I think he has good songs. I'm not sure. Like, is there a whole album you could just?
Well, you could never skip a track
and just play the whole album the whole way through. You got an hour drive to work. You play that whole record.
Yo, honestly, brother, like. If you with your chick, you can listen to a whole hour of Drake, but by yourself, no one wants to listen to a whole album of Drake.
That's what we're saying. That's
what
we're saying.
But that doesn't make it not classic, though. Because there's a lot of R&B joints out there, like, I want to listen to, and then I'm like, if I'm putting some work in, I need that. But I'm not going to walk around listening to 12 play. You feel what I'm saying? It's a classic album, but are you really going to sit in your car and trap and listen to 12 play?
My definition of a classic album, some like Stevie Wonder, like Inner Visions. You could just put a Stevie record on and just be driving and just like have just one song after the next and you feel good.
You don't necessarily have to have like a girl in your whip,
Yeah, man. Stevie Wonder feels good. You're listening to the record, it feels good, right?
It's all about.
But if you have to put a bunch of asterisks next to it, like it's a good record, but not in this situation.
But I say you don't have to put asterisks in but, and I go but, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The point that I'm making though is that that I think that we put too many things on classics. Like certain things are a classic for what they are, and if you look at it through that realm and you don't try to pervade, come into it and try to put your spin on things, like the Stevie Wonder album is classic for the reasons why that's a classic. But other things in hip hop may not. It may not be the same reasons why we think certain things are classic. Like I hate to have these conversations because that's so debatable, and people will be like, "How is he defending Drake albums being classics?" It's not, but at the same time, it's like
it's appalling, actually.
Hey,
no,
I'm waiting for you to finish. I'm like, no, I'm sure there's something in there.
What about about classic material?
Yeah, like what is it about a Drake record that makes it a classic record?
A lot of the records that he had, first of all, he was the guy that really ushered in being able to sing and rap. Like
not Ja Rule.
No,
I give him credit for that.
No,
Ja Rule's not a
Ja Rule didn't sing. Ja Rule sounded like the Cookie Monster. Yeah. Period. Like it was
like melodic DMX.
Yeah,
melodic DMX.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was like
DMX on ecstasy.
And Ja Rule did have a couple joint dope records. But if you look at a lot of the records that Drake had at that time, and how big they were, like just look at the records, from the first record. He had the first joint with I feel so horrible. I'm defending these damn records and I can't remember the records, right?
But that's you're proving our point.
He has bangers, but they're not memorable.
And I'm indirectly proving your point because usually I'm sharper than this. So you know what? I'm gonna concede.
Songs off the top of your head.
I'm gonna concede that Drake has no classics, even and that's just under extreme duress. But
classic Kendrick record, go.
Kendrick. Oh, okay.
See how easy that is. Oh, the
Good Kid,
to pimp a butt. Yeah.
Well, Kendrick's my favorite. So is J. Cole. But every year that J. Cole, I'll tell you this.
Classic J. Cole record.
What do you call it?
Forest Drive.
No, not Forest Drive. I just said this a couple days ago. The mixtape.
Guys Only.
No, the mixtape. Friday Night Lights.
Okay.
Classic. J. Cole to me. Friday Night Lights is my thing. Is my classic from him. A lot of other records he has, I respect him because he doesn't have a lot of features, but I don't think they're classics. I can listen to Friday Night Lights from front to back. I know the words so that every song on it, even from the skits to the the intro to the end. Yes, I'll give you that. But, I remember being, like I said, I just remember listening to Thank Me Later when I was living out in California. I used to listen to that shit front to back. It was a dope record.
And Nicki was on it.
I feel like J. Cole's like frustratingly hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
Like Like J. Cole when he's good, like Immortal,
The last album.
J. Cole on a good day is like Barry Bonds and shit.
Right.
And then like you have like other songs.
Like I was upset.
Yeah, you're just
with
like
the record. The 2 records he put out, the videos for wasn't even on the fucking record. I was upset. The one he's talking about Kanye on. Somebody should have told me it would be like this.
Yeah.
That record and the other shit he put out.
To be fair, he had the documentary.
Yeah,
and
but
it was like the pseudo.
Yeah, but I didn't. No.
It was a weird documentary.
No. I didn't go on iTunes to buy that record to get other shit, the documentary. I wanted those 2 records because that made me, J. Cole got a record coming out. And he didn't even put them out.
Yeah.
So without those 2 on it right there, nothing on the record sounded anything like those 2 records.
And that record he did addressing Wale. I thought that was going to be.
That was the same record, wasn't it?
Nah, I didn't hear it. Everybody perceived that he was cracking up or cracking on Wale, saying that he was complaining. I know this rapper friend who was da 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 da. I could find a record on YouTube, but I didn't see it on. I thought
that was the same one. He's on the bus in the video. That's the same one he's talking about. Wale and Kanye, same record.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'll double check.
Nah,
I like, full disclosure. J. Cole is really dope. I listened to like almost all the albums. Except for the Friday Night Lights mixtape. I was on that Young Money wave when that dropped, and I just figured that J. Cole was just another Drake, what I'm saying? But then when after I listened to the album,
I think the best guy, if we want to talk about respectability as far as producer-wise, J. Cole's a dope producer, but nobody's touching Big Crit. And this is what I'm saying, like when I talk about, these guys, I'll bring up 4 names always. You got to talk about, if you're going to bring up, Drake, you got Big Sean as well. So if you're going to, the contemporaries are Big Sean, Drake, J. Cole, Crit. That's those are like, that's their class.
You don't throw Wale in there?
I said, did I say Kendrick?
No, you didn't.
That's 5. Those 5. Excuse me. I didn't mean to leave him out. Those 5 are right there. Wale was out before them. So like he was already there.
Yeah.
That's true.
But
with him Nike boots.
But every year that they come out with a record, if you ever notice the album cycle, those guys always have a record out at the same time.
That's true.
Never fails. Always. So if you see one come out with an album, like right now, like you have the Big Sean record that came out last year, but it's still in that loop. They always come out in that same time. Like so, those are contemporaries. And
Big Sean's another one.
Yes, Big
Who
Sean
I feel like is talented, but
he doesn't have a classic record.
Doesn't deliver. I don't know why. I don't know. What his
he
problem
has a song. I think the Big Sean.
He's got the charisma. He's
and
got the
Drake
vibe. He's got the. I don't know.
Are gonna be our T-Pain. T-Pain has a moment where he just covered the radio. He just covered our vibe. We listened to a T-Pain record. We know exactly what we were doing.
T-Pain records. T-Pain don't have no classics. Records.
He has classic. He has classic records.
No
But I don't
albums?
know if I don't think he has a classic album.
Oh, really?
Matter of fact, let me take that back because I didn't listen to his album. Maybe, but I don't think
I
don't-
never listened to it to a whole
I
T-Pain record.
haven't bought into him to listen to an album, to invest the album, but I do love the records that I'm exposed to.
For me, it's hard not to assume the auto-tune is like a gimmick. It just feels kind of like a gimmick. It just feels
It
like
felt like a gimmick until people saw how he used it, and then when you saw how he used it, you saw his real genius. He played this shit like an instrument. Like he can sing his ass off without it. And I told people all the time that he can sing because I'm like, oh, he can't sing without it. And then when he sang without it, people say, oh, he needs to go back to it. Well, he can't have it both ways because he sang with it years ago on Saturday Night Live without it.
Yeah.
I saw him on a Tiny Desk concert too. One of the NPR.
Right, that was way afterwards. He sang. I'm talking about. He sang "One More Drink" on SNL without the
Oh, for real?
Yeah, killed it.
It went pretty well.
Yeah, of course it went well. He can sing. The only way if it didn't go well, you would know because it would be right here. T-Pain without auto-tune. That shit would never die.
Fail.
What's it? Jessica Simpson's sister.
Right. That ruined her career.
Yeah. Immediately.
Yeah. Like when you fuck up, people love that. The internet is not forgiving. Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. It's because we feel unfulfilled,
right?
And so seeing someone else fail
face.
is like cathartic.
Love
like,
it,
yeah.
Right? Especially T-Pain, that non-singing ass.
Right.
Aha.
Fuck all them years of hard work. It took me to get here.
But doesn't mean. But I say all this to say though, I'm not saying that T-Pain is not a beloved, talented person. He's definitely one of like the top 20.
20 what?
Top 20
Calling your
millennial
bluff.
artists. you know, to
In what
show
genre?
up.
What are you saying?
Well, I think he's in his own genre. He created. Ron Brown started using auto-tune when he did that Pop Champagne. There's a lot of artists I was utilizing, so he created that vibe. And though Jay-Z said,
I was just gonna say a measure of his success is the fact that Jay-Z had to come. Remember, because Jay-Z was still kind of semi-retired-ish during that time period.
Right.
He semi came out of retirement just to make Death of Auto-Tune.
Yeah.
So if I was T-Pain, I could see myself being a little upset about that, but that's a huge compliment. That hip-hop royalty felt that you were doing so well that Jay-Z felt like I have to address this, I have to write a song about this.
That goes back to what I said a couple minutes back about attacking personal brand.
Right.
Like when he attacked auto-tune, he didn't have to say T-Pain. We already knew. We're like, damn. And also, that was the beginning of us, me and John were looking at Jay-Z as a bitter old man. I'm like, who? Okay, I get it, brother. Like, you're not even making music anymore. Like, he does stuff now. So I'm like, you're not even making music anymore. Who are you to come back out and now and come and attack Jay? And then even that, how about he does that? That's the auto-tune, right? And he does songs with Kanye, who does nothing but auto-tune.
right, yeah.
Like, that right there showed you that his finger wasn't on the pulse of it, because they said death to auto-tune, and I'm still hearing auto-tune every damn day. The auto-tune never died. The only person that was a victim of that was T-Pain for that exact reason, because when you throw the auto-pain, you say, put some T-Pain. What do you say? Put some T-Pain on my vocals.
Yeah.
You know? But auto-tune didn't die. Kanye went and stole, I shouldn't say stole, but, you know, like, once they got T-Pain out the way, Kanye just went overboard. Kanye hasn't done an album without auto-tune since. And he used to sing without auto-tune.
To your credit, auto-tune as just a sound effect has existed for decades. And so it wasn't until T-Pain came along and used it the way he used it that it became such a big thing.
So that's why he's like the top 10 millennial artist.
Put him
You
top
could
five.
say
Yeah,
you
top
could
five,
say in terms of influence,
Yeah.
definitely.
So Drake is definitely up there.
Oh yeah.
Big Sean is.
I don't know how influential Big Sean is.
I think
though.
it's we know what's
compared
messed
to
up.
these other artists. Yeah.
What's messed up is that Big Sean and me sounds much better with Janae. They have, they have an album together called 2088.
Oh, no way.
He's a very melodic rapper, and then she's like, you know,
They do work together.
yeah. I what's crazy about the album? I like the
You
fucking.
bought the album. You talking about Drake?
Yeah.
Hold on.
See this, folks? You see that the truth comes out.
I'm saying I bought the.
I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2017.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? But I bought because, they had that chemistry. And it worked well. And it's dope when you're riding around, you're playing around your crib, you got somebody over, you pop some Moscato.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Sounds familiar, huh?
What?
Sounds like a Drake album to me. Didn't I just say that?
No, but
But you said that wasn't classic. Now, if you pop a Moscato, what you having? You having a good time, right? And every time you hear that record, you're like, I remember that time. I was playing that record.
But will you remember the album, though?
That's the dessert wine.
That's what you're talking, but that's
You
what
create moments.
But
You're right.
that's what I'm saying about classic material. A classic album, you pop that shit in, you be like, yo, I remember where I was doing, where I was at, and the time.
Here's the
that's
thing.
That's why.
Does that make NSYNC a classic record now? Does that make No Strings?
No,
because you have a nostalgic.
I don't have a nostalgic then because that's not my personal memories. Other people like when
I'm just saying like shit like that.
No. When I'm talking about classic material and classic album, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a moment in time where everybody collectively was listening to that record and the record ages well. Like Drake's albums age well. Like if you listen to his first album now, it doesn't like you hear the growth of it, but it's still not. This is so 2010. This is so 2009. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Classic material. Like you can look
Soulja Boy.
Like you could like look listen to a Drake record, and then you can have a lady over your house, and you drinking Moscato, you drinking whatever you drinking, and then you know you be like, yo. Oh man, and then you
I got some biscotti in the fridge.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's an experience. Like a classic album just evokes those good. Like when you at a classic album and then you have a classic records. Just like when you hear a classic record, you be like, shit, I remember this back in '99 or back in 2002 when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
Okay, I see your point.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Like that's how I feel about all those Drake records. I be like, yo, I remember listening to this and being, at this place and that record was booming. You know, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So. That's how you feel about Big Sean. I get it. So, but that's what I see in your face. So when you saw somebody like, yo,
sounds more familiar.
Yeah.
But
No, go ahead.
Speaking of like, so I guess to tie it all up, what do you think about Chris Brown?
Chris Brown is number 2.
Chris Brown is definitely, he dropped 45 tracks.
Yeah.
And the shit went gold.
That's what I'm saying to
So
you. Like,
far.
Yeah.
when you talk about millennial artists, like the guys, like he's
Especially
up
in
there.
this time frame, no one's going well.
The most important people in the history, and I mean in our generation right now, unfortunately, is the Migos. Everybody raps like them. Even Chris Brown on his new record, he's rapping like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was a transition when he was trying to do that EDM shit.
Yeah.
Also, that dance
Which is
culture.
pretty dope. It was pretty dope. I fucked with it.
I think one of the most important things about Chris Brown is how important he is to dance. Whenever there's a new dance, whenever there's a new anything, there's always a world star hip hop video of Chris Brown crushing it. Like and then throwing Michael Jackson shit into it. Like
And Usher.
yeah, so he's so important to the culture, to the music, to the way it looks, to the way it sounds.
So,
and it's yeah.
you think that when you said the Michael Jackson thing, so you think he's like the natural evolution of Michael Jackson? Do you think you see anybody
Performance
else?
wise,
Do you see Usher in him at all?
I do know what you're saying. I do think that there wouldn't be a Chris Brown without Usher, but I don't think there would be any of them without Michael Jackson. And
Right.
and just like in terms of the dance moves, I don't feel like so for example, Michael Jackson was influenced by Gene Kelly a lot.
And James Brown, yeah.
Right. But Michael Jackson doesn't dance like either of them. You could still see Michael Jackson has his own way of performing, and you could it's immediately recognizable. Usher was influenced by Michael Jackson, but he just kind of is like an off-brand Michael Jackson. Like, I feel like Usher never developed his own style of dancing and performing. It just kind of feels like Michael Jackson-ish, whereas Chris Brown kind of has his own thing, where Chris Brown's thing is to incorporate new dance moves and to kind of be have his finger on the pulse, be on that cutting edge, where I feel like Usher just always kind of did Michael Jackson-ish moves his own way, but it was never like, here's Usher's style and here's Michael Jackson's style way over here. You see what I'm saying? Like, it always just kind of felt just like how DMX and Ja Rule are similar. They're kind of different, but not that different, really.
Right.
Like, if you really listen to it,
No, they're totally different.
are they that different?
Yes.
Really, that
Super different.
I understand, like in terms of tone, like a DMX album feels different.
Darker.
Tone, definitely, than like an Ashanti Ja Rule record, like
Clearly,
336 or whatever, right? But like, I don't know. It's just like it's
I mean,
to me it's pretty close. I know what you're saying in terms of like the like Ja Rule is
DMX
Ashanti.
was Coca-Cola. Ja Rule would be like RC.
Right, but like
He just be straight up cola. Like, come on, man.
yeah, but he's that CC good cola shit.
So yeah, the only thing they have in common is that they're soda. That's it. Nothing else.
Right. But like, when have you ever had a soda that was that different from any other soda?
Yo, if you
soda.
drink
Soda.
RC Cola and you drink Coke, you know the damn difference. Yo. You're like, yo, what the hell is this you gave? If you said to somebody, yo, let me get a Coke, and they give you, and they said,
Okay,
here's a Coke.
That's a good point.
And then you was like, wait a minute. And now if you said, yo, I don't have Coke, but I got this, and you'd be like, all right, I'll try this. I'll get it. Like, but you know damn well the difference of it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
Hey, that's the thing with Ja Rule. Like, if Ja Rule and DMX was on the track, you couldn't tell the difference. Yes, you could. You could definitely tell on Murdergram, you know, Ja Rule and all of them. And then their voices were a little similar, but not. The problem with Ja Rule was he was too much Tupac, too much DMX, and he never really got a chance to really be himself. That's
kind of what
we're
I'm
talking
saying.
about him 20 years later, and we're still comparing him to DMX and Tupac. He never broke out of that mold. Whereas like R. Kelly was talked about as being Aaron Hall and steering out Aaron Hall style. We don't even know who the people probably listen like, who's Aaron Hall, right? Exactly.
I don't know who that is.
Aaron Hall was the guy was from the group Guy with Teddy Riley, and he everything that R. Kelly was in the beginning of his career was Aaron Hall. The bald head, the shades, the way he sang on, if you listen to old Aaron Hall records, his inflection in his voice was R. Kelly that's bit that to the
Well, R. Kelly was like a gospel guy at first, right?
Well, no.
Then he grew up in the church.
He grew up in the church, but so did probably Aaron Hall and from Harlem. But the point of the matter was, like, his visually, looking at how he looked,
I got you.
he stole his whole look and his sound. But R. Kelly doesn't sound like R. Kelly from 1992 and
He did develop.
in 2002 and whatever. He just moved on. Ja Rule never did. Ja Rule always sounded like he was like an off-brand DMX.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
I make the same argument about Future and Designer. I don't think they're the same.
No.
They're in fact, I would say it's weird, but I understand Designer more than I understand Future.
Because he out-futured Future on his own style. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
That's how they take over your style. They outdo your own thing, and then you got to figure out how to create. Again, not so much a rapper, but that's what happened to what's his name? Bink, the producer. A lot of people can't tell. Bink produced a lot of stuff on the Dynasty. Like, I shouldn't even tell you what he produced because I ask who you thought he produced. Like, All I Need. If you heard that record, All I Need, New Coupe, New Shoes. Remember that joint?
Mm-hmm.
If you heard that record, who would you think produced that record?
Kanye.
No, that's Bink.
Wow.
He produced. I believe he produced a couple. He produced a lot of joints for Rick Ross. I want to say he produced Cigar Music. He produced a bunch of records on the Dynasty. I can't remember right now at the top, but a lot of people confuse a lot of Bink's records with Just Blaze records and Kanye West records. But it was Bink. Wow. And Bink is like the guy. He had like a lot of dope records. And I remember one day listening to Scram Jones, and I'm like, yo, I can't believe that he has so many dope records. But if you just check him up, check his credits out, he has a lot of records that people falsely associate with other producers. And his drum pattern's crazy. So yeah.
All right.
For sure.
Well, that's interesting. I guess we could do some research, but
Yeah, we got really derailed off the lean subject.
But it was tight.
But it's about hip hop.
It's about the culture. It's about how unfortunately we're the ones that are the biggest promoters. We influence our youth to sip on lean. We make it whatever. But at the same time, maybe some of the stuff adds to their creativity. Or maybe some of the stuff are the cause of why they're derailing, when they're not as creative and they're not selling any more records.
I think it's that's a big debate too with like the whole like Jimi Hendrix and that and through that 70s thing of like does drugs make you more creative? But here's my opinion on that. We'll never fucking know because Jimi Hendrix died at 27 getting fucked up. Right. So I do understand that argument, and hey man, hallucinogens open your mind. I kind of see that argument, but at the same time, I think if we're just gonna run off without the common sense, and I guess for me the big takeaway is respect your drugs, people. Just respect the drug. If you're gonna do a drug, respect it, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, weed is fine. You're not gonna get addicted off of weed off of a couple of joints. You're probably fine.
Some may argue different, but I see your point. My Republican friends.
No one has ever gotten addicted off of two blunts in their life, and now I need my shit.
Have you spoken to Nancy Reagan?
I have not, surprisingly.
Neither have I.
Right, but it's like, you can get away with.
I think she's dead.
Oh fuck!
She definitely died. So someone said they smoked the Nancy Reagan, man. Listen, they have some powerful shit.
Yeah, right. Get off that lean, brother. What are you doing? Yeah, but it's been great having this conversation with you guys. I think it's a hugely important subject again.
Yeah. Thank you, Wiz Khalifa, for setting this tone for saying.
Yeah, man. Where's the hashtag, man?
Thank you, Wiz.
Where's the Wiz challenge? I want to see the Wiz Khalifa challenge.
I want to go on Facebook, how to drink lean. Motherfuckers is pouring it down the toilet like they do everything else. I want to see that.
Yeah, right? So let's do that. So let's start a new movement. How to drink clean, pour it down the toilet. All right, guys.
and tweet that at us, Instagram at us
at MXE Podcast.
Show us your footage of
MXE Podcast.
Yeah, right. Sneak MXE Podcast. Right. MSC.
I'm on that lean, brother.
I like MSC. Yeah, man. Send us your clips of you steal your neighbor's expensive lean, pour it down the toilet. Send us a video.
Let it know. Let us
tell them we sent you now.
The views expressed.
Tell them that Tell them at Hustle for
Mention
Hire.
us by name.
Hustle for Hire. David Wills.
Yeah.
Wally Wall Street. You know.
Yeah, you were instructed for the good of humanity, man. Get that shit out of here.
Out of your system.
Yeah, man. Remember, real niggas don't lean. We stand up. You know what I mean? We take care of responsibilities and we take care of our families. So by you taking a drug that makes you sleep for 12, 16 hours.
Right.
So without, is there anything else we need to cover? I mean,
There's just one thing left to say. Remember, folks, no means no.
Ow! Go ahead. Yo, we're fucking.
Yeah, we're stupid. We're efficient. You know what's good?
What's up?
I wasn't expecting us to get it like that. We got it first time, first try.
Yeah,
we got
no
it in
means no.
unison. That's not